even when I'm down. Got my head in the clouds and my feet on the ground. I got big dreams, gonna make them true. Hey, Toby here, your self-empowerment trainer from the GeniusLab, where we help you realize your greatness. Today we are going to work on part 2 of Inventory That Shit. Okay. Last time we worked on collecting a list of all the things that we regret, all of the painful aspects of our lives. This is where we got to be a crybaby, whining, I always say what you focus on, you feed. So you don't want to feed the negativity, but sometimes you have to acknowledge the negativity so that you can find it, bring it into your awareness and release it. So I hope you had fun doing that, and you have a nice list of shit that you're ready to get rid of, because that's what we're going to do today. Okay. So this next list might seem a lot shorter than yesterday's list. But basically this is about owning your greatness. This is about not paying attention to your character flaws or your defects or whatever. This is about owning your greatness. And this is a time, take the egotistical bullshit, set it aside, the whole self-aggrandizing stuff. You get to, no judgment on this. In the same way you didn't judge yourself for the shit, you don't have to judge you don't get to judge yourself for the goodness either. Like, I'm being egotistical if I say this. This is the time where you want to own your greatness. This is where you want to acknowledge with positive pride the way that you have had a positive impact in the world and the way you've made the world and your life and others' lives a better place. So we're gonna connect to the feelings of positive pride, and we are going to recognize your greatness. Okay. One of the things that I'll share a story with you just to kind of get you going. I remember one Christmas, my nephew tells this story, and it's interesting because I have no memory of this incident. So anyway, what he says is, when one Christmas I worked for this athletic shoe company, and we had all kinds of really cool apparel, and I had a bunch of shoes that I would always give people. And he said, Uncle Toby, that Christmas, when you walked in with those boxes of shoes and all that clothing and all that cool stuff, and I saw that beautiful red Porsche sitting out in the driveway, I knew that I wanted to be just like you. And as I said, I don't honestly remember that particular situation. I was, I'm a generous person. I gave away a lot of stuff. It was good for the brand, and it helped out people. So it was cool. But what I realized is that act of kindness, which I did not consider to be any kind of great thing, was an incident that in my nephew's life absolutely lit him up and inspired him to become a very successful businessman. And now he's in his 30s. He's got a family, and he's doing really well. And I feel really good that I inspired him to follow that path. So you don't have to save the world. Sometimes it's a small thing. Sometimes it's a medium thing. Like my nephew's life was enhanced, and his inspiration helped him to aspire to be a successful businessman, which is awesome. Sometimes it's a little tiny thing, like leaving $10 at Starbucks so that the person behind you gets a free coffee. Okay, I do that all the time, especially in the drive-thru. It's really fun. Just hand the guy a 10 and say, hey, buy the next person's coffee and put the rest in your tip cup. And who knows, probably they just put it in their tip cup. Who knows? No, I'm just kidding. But it's fun. And one of the things I remember was being at Chipotle with my partner, Suzanne, and she was a retired firefighter. She was one of the first female firefighter paramedics in the Cincinnati area. So she has a lot of respect for her firefighting brothers and sisters. And we were at Chipotle, and we were paying for our food, and we noticed a couple of firemen 2 spaces behind us. And Suzanne discreetly checked with the cashier, can you find out what those 2 guys ordered? And she did. And Suzanne paid for their lunch. And it was really fun because we didn't say anything. We just said, just tell them thank you for your service. And somebody paid for their lunch. And as we were walking out the door, we heard their expressions of joy and surprise when they went to pay for their meal and it was already taken care of, and acknowledged the appreciation for their service. These kinds of things are the kind of things I want you to think about, because they're things that most of you do randomly without expectation of any kind of acknowledgement or reward. Okay. Because you're a high performing person. You wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you weren't. Okay. So this is the time though to take collection of those things, because it's really important. As we move the shit out, we don't want to leave a vacuum. We want to fill it with your greatness. And so in the same way that we acknowledge our character flaws and our defects and the stupid shit that we've done in our lives, which seems to be easier to understand than our greatness. It's important, because when we get rid of the shit, we make room and we need to fill it with something. So the more clear we are on our greatness, the more powerful we become as we make room and we allow that greatness to be more expansive. Okay? So, if you want to go through the categories of your goal setting and that sort of thing, that's a great idea, just like we did with the shit. And so however you want to do it, the big thing is to just own it. Okay? Own the bigness, own the goodness. Now, to help you out, I'm going to lead you through kind of a guided meditation. It's called Climbing the Mountain. And the cool thing about Climbing the Mountain is, if you're reading the book or doing this podcast, you are going to do this as a visualization. When you're at the workshop and the retreat in Hawaii, we are actually going to climb Sleeping Giant. And we are going to do this exercise as we climb to the top of the mountain and then come back down. And the idea is, when you go up the mountain, that's the hard part. You're fighting gravity. The trail can be quite steep and it really challenges your body and it brings up a lot of shit. So that's when we release the shit. Okay. And then once we hit the pinnacle, once we're at the top, at the summit, that's when we celebrate, and our way down is much easier. And on our way down is where we collect energy. Okay, so release on the way up, fill with good energy on the way down. So just imagine yourself at the base of the mountain. And actually, initially, just get into a place where you're listening to this, where you're comfortable and, seated preferably, or maybe even laying down and relaxing. And I'm going to run you through this visualization. It should take maybe 10 minutes. I actually haven't timed it, so we'll find out. And so just get into a place where you can relax and you can just let your mind be free, okay? Free of distraction. So imagine yourself at the base of a mountain. It can be a large mountain like Mount Everest, Mount Rainier, the Colorado Rockies, or it can be a small mountain like a couple thousand feet tall, like Sleeping Giant. And imagine a trail right in front of you. And as you begin to walk up this trail, it gets steeper and steeper. You can feel the effect of gravity weighing down your body. And as you feel that weight, you become aware of shit that you're carrying in your life from the past that no longer serves you. Imagine that shit as it comes to your mind, simply falling away from your body, allowing you to become lighter and more agile and more easily able to climb up the path. Okay? Just continue to walk up the path however you visualize that path. If you're climbing Sleeping Giant, you're going to see bamboo. You're going to see, large, dense vegetation, large leafed plants that are just, amazing. You can see the red volcanic soil as it begins to stain your shoes. And you can hear the birds calling around you. As the trail gets steeper and winds to the right and to the left, You notice that you are feeling heavier and you're becoming more fatigued. And so as you become fatigued, you'll notice that things come to your mind and it's time to release it. Now, it may not be a specific incident. It might be just that you feel like shit. Let it go. And as the trail winds around through the mountain, it becomes more challenging and you feel more weight and more shedding. So you just continue to shed as you climb up the mountain, as you imagine yourself one step after another. And as the weight lifts, it means that you are shedding shit that you don't need. Okay? A lot of these things, what I find when I actually do this climb is that a lot of stuff from my childhood, a lot of stuff from my life that I regret, for whatever reason, when I'm in a state of pain and trying to catch my breath, that's what comes up. And what's interesting is even doing this visualization, you will feel the weight of it and you will be able to release it. And as you release it, you will feel better and better. The nice thing is, as you go up the mountain, it begins to flatten out a little bit, and there's a place where you can regain your breath and your energy. So you get a little bit of a break, and this puts you at about the halfway point. So there's a lookout that looks out over the Pacific Ocean, and you can feel this beautiful breeze. It feels so good. You're about halfway up. You've climbed over 1.5 miles, and you are sweating like crazy. You've released a ton of shit, and you look out at the ocean, and you feel the breeze against your face, and you watch the waves as they crash into the sandy shores. But you're on a mission. Time to shed some more shit. So you turn around and you continue up the trail. What you see before you is a winding upward trail for about the next mile or so. And you think to yourself, can I really do this? But as you zig and zag through the forest, as you come into shady places, you get some relief. And as you continue to shed the things that come to your mind, it becomes easier and easier and easier to continue to climb. You look to your right and your left, and you can see the vegetation, and it's beautiful, and these flowers are amazing. And you look up and you see the summit, and you're almost there. And there's only one thing that stands between you and the summit, and that is a 70-foot rock wall. And you're afraid of heights. Sometimes when you're shedding things, especially things that no longer serve you, things from the past, you hit a place of fear. Like, what would I do without these things? Particularly if you were a victim of or are a survivor of horrible assault, whether it's sexual assault or physical assault. There's a certain identification with the trauma that is comfortable. Even though it's shitty, it's comfortable because you're used to it. And you wonder, like, how will I fit into my family if I let this go? How will I fit into my friends if I let this go? How will I fit into my support groups if I let this go? There's a price sometimes that comes with shedding your shit. You no longer get to hide in it. Okay? And by owning your greatness, you own the responsibility for your life. And just like this rock face in front of you seems like you're not sure if you can get up it, you know you have to, because you are going to own your greatness. So you start climbing the rock face. And you realize that there's these great little handholds and footholds, and you pull yourself up, and you're freaking exhausted, and you're sweating like crazy, and you can feel the sun beating down on you as you climb this rock face. And you realize that, you know what? It's too late to turn back now, because I'm scared shitless that I would fall if I try and go down this thing. So you just keep climbing until you hit the top. and you realize that you have summited the mountain. You have hit the top. And each handhold and each foothold, you shed the last remaining aspects of shit that you want to get rid of. And you relinquish your identification with that shit. And you stand at the top of this mountain victorious. And as you catch your breath and as you feel light and free, it's time to go down the mountain. Now, one of the things that you realize is that it's going to be a bitch trying to get down that mountain, down that rock face, so that you can get down the mountain. But as you walk back towards that face, you realize that there's an invisible stairway or a hidden stairway that you can't see from below, but you can see from above, that allows you to circumvent that rock wall, that rock face. And you're able to easily maneuver the stairs and overcome this obstacle. That helps you feel empowered. And as you move down the mountain, you move free and easy. The trail in its steepest part helps you accelerate and go faster. And you feel every step, every time your foot hits the ground, you're taking in energy from this mountain, from this powerful spiritual place. You are regaining yourself. You are regaining your greatness. As you weave to the left and to the right, coming down, you feel the wind in your face. You pass the overlook and you don't even bother stopping because it's so exhilarating moving down. And as you wind your way, all as you can feel is more and more power. With every step, you get stronger and stronger and more confident and more powerful. Finally, you reach the bottom and you stop and you give thanks for everything that you have released, and you claim the greatness that you have taken in and the new identity of you as a victor, no longer a victim of what has happened in your life. You own your greatness, you claim your greatness, you allow yourself to be in that place of feeling good. And take a nice deep breath and allow your eyes to open and allow that feeling of victory to inhabit your body. And that's your exercise for today. Have fun. Feel free to listen to this and go through this exercise as many times as you need to. There always seems to be shit to shed and new good stuff to collect. So I hope you enjoy. And as the song says, keep looking up.